Welcome back, everybody, to another market day. I'm your designated inquirer. My name is Axel, and today is 9/23/2020. The market is back in sell-off mode. Okay, we had the past couple days that were kind of to the upside, the past three if you're looking at the NASDAQ. But as far as Amazon was concerned, it basically bottomed out yesterday. It started to move up a little bit. The day before yesterday. Yesterday went up. And it kind of peaked overnight. And today it fell apart. It fell apart because, well, I think there's an important level here in terms of on the way up. Like from a psychological perspective, as far as traders are concerned, okay? If we go to the 2 hour here, there was for a good long while the 3,000 level, okay? It's just a big old round number. That's kind of important, and on the way up there was a lot of fanfare about it. Okay, when it went and it reached that level of about 3,000, okay, it kind of acted as a support level on the way back down. Okay, so from the very early onset, it could, certain numbers depending on the stock can turn into like these mythical numbers. Okay, for some reason, for Tesla and Elon Musk and all of his acolytes, the numbers 420 is important because of his tweet. Okay, because funding secured at 420. Okay, 690 probably because of the memes. He's a big old meme lord, and so his following and people that buy the stock will probably tend to follow those numbers. And so on and so forth. Okay, anyway, that's beside the point. But for Amazon, 3,000 is a key number. Okay, whether or not it becomes like a floor or a level from which to recover from, or if it starts to act like a resistance point, 3,000 is a pretty solid number. Okay, so there have been times where it went and it closed pretty close to it, but closed above it more recently. Okay, and it's been more or less staying away from it for a good long while, up until you get to the last week. Okay, when we get to the 3,000 level, okay, there's a fair amount of action that was happening around it. Okay, a lot of price action in terms of like it hanging around there, it climbing up, it coming back down to it, closing above it, opening above it, coming back down, seeing some resistance at that level, slowing down when you get to it, opening above, and oh, now that we opened above, now we can go up higher. Like, and oh my god, now we're down below it, we closed below it, oh no, this guy's gonna fall apart. Like, there's a lot mentally going on at this level for people that trade Amazon. Okay, kind of like how the level for Apple was at the 2 trillion market cap valuation mark. Okay, there are just certain numbers around certain stocks that mean something to the people that trade that stock and to the people that happen to own that stock, including CEOs, company boards, hedge funds, like all that kind of stuff, right? So these, for Amazon, this just happens to be the level, and we happen to close below it today. Okay, today we had, from the intraday high, okay, we had a 5.33% move, which is pretty significant. But we are a 2 hours kind of like intermediary on the weekly time frame is where I like to, 2 hours what I like to look at. It is not oversold on the 2 hour yet. Okay, it still has room to go, and more than likely we're probably falling. We're probably seeing, or we're probably going to reestablish or try and find this level right here first, which is a pretty strong level, depending on whether or not they break through it or not. Next level is 2,800, and then below that probably a pit stop at 7, and then another one at 23 26.35. But almost pretty whole numbers. It seems like pretty whole 100 lot numbers. It seems to be the trend in terms of like when it may or may not decide to actually turn around. It's not always going to be exact because this point of control is not exactly at a particular price point that happens to revolve around 100, but that's okay. But what is kind of important right now is that we have basically a turnaround. By the time that we get to tomorrow, we will most likely have this line crossing back over the other line. We have a sell signal in the middle of the day on the 2 hour. We're coming off of basically an overbought indicator. And tomorrow when we hit oversold, we're probably going to stay oversold for a while because of how momentum is moving. By tomorrow morning, if we stay negative, we're probably going to keep moving negative and with some sort of acceleration, because moving into negative, things start to get pretty hairy pretty fast. And we've got this, we've just got this fresh sell signal, kind of like here. Okay, and there's already kind of an acceleration to the downside, so this could move pretty fast, pretty quickly. But this is only a guess. This is statistically possibly what might happen. Please do not take what I say as a recommendation of what to do or how to act. Please go find your own financial advisor that has a fiduciary duty to look out for your money. Okay, take the things that I say only as purely informational and educational purposes only. All right, now that we have that out of the way, let's keep delving into this. What else happened today that could have resulted in this? Well, there were a lot of things. One of them being that the dollar DXY money symbol, the dollar decided to rip upward today. So there was this level that through the ether people were starting to talk about, that $94, that, well, the price level of 94 in terms of the dollar strength compared to a basket of other currencies, because this is how this index is put together, was the level to look out for, that if it broke to the upside, that we would be moving meaningfully higher. Okay, it's basically a break to the upside. Okay, and we're basically confirming that because we're kind of hitting overbought here relatively quickly, and we're staying there. Okay, we're staying overbought. There seems to be a lot of momentum now moving to the upside. Okay, so we went today in particular from closing at just about 94, having cleared it. Okay, we did make a new high on the day. We ended up closing right under it, but as soon as the next day got started and the trading overseas commenced, the dollar, or rather the British pound, was having a whole lot of weakness for the shutting down that they have to now commit to because of now rising coronavirus cases. Why we don't have any sort of shutdown whatsoever, considering the amount of caseload that we have, is still beyond me. But considering that the shutdown that they're having, which is prudent and beneficial to a quicker restart and more solid restart, foundational restart, which I believe is the right way to go, but that's beside the point now. Considering that they're having a shutdown and that their currency is dropping relative to ours, our dollar is going to shoot up, okay, faster than what it would otherwise normally do, considering the pressures that the Fed is exerting on bonds and on the economy as a whole. Okay, this is just kind of the shutdown from Great Britain and being able to weaken the British pound is only accelerating the plans and the thesis that Stephen Van Meter has kind of put together. So the bond king strikes again. Okay, but something interesting that I saw today and the past couple days, as the dollar was increasing in price, or strengthening, in other words, was the action alongside the bond. Okay, as a currency, as the strength of currency starts to go up, relative assets that are priced with that currency start to fall. So equities and bonds can fall, okay? But something that's super interesting along this same time frame, which is these past 3 days, is that it's been holding its ground. So what does that mean? It means that it has actually been increasing in price this whole time. So as the dollar starts to go up and the bond price does not fall, with only that simple relation and or correlation, that relationship, it means that there's actively more buying going on in bonds. Okay, and the fact that we were able to move from here, let me make it a 5-minute here so you can see more detail here. As the dollar was shooting up, okay, as the dollar was shooting up, the mere fact that this could hold its ground and still come down some, but to this level where there's a decent amount of support and then shoot back up again, shows an incredible amount of strength and the amount of demand for bonds. So that's another reason why we saw stocks today sell off more sharply, because the conjunction of bonds going up in price, meaning that there were people actively buying bonds, taking money out of equities and into bonds, okay, was one thing. Two, that the dollar in and of itself was going up, so the assets underneath them were getting cheaper because now you don't need as many dollars to buy them. That's the key point there. You don't need as many dollars to buy them. Now, what happened to gold? Gold went down. What happened to Bitcoin? Bitcoin went down. Why? Because they are all competing currencies or like exchanges of value, right? Commodities tend to be something that competes with a currency in terms of a method to hold value. Bitcoin does that, and so does gold. And so they both, as assets that compete with the dollar, went down because the dollar went up, okay, in terms of value, okay? So I know that all seems to be counterintuitive or whatnot, but the relationship is there. It works out. It checks out, okay? That's the way it works. So we're going to be continuing, if the dollar keeps going up in value, we're going to continue to see a drop in Bitcoin. We're going to continue to see a drop in gold. We're going to continue to see a drop in equities, all right? And considering that the amount of fear that an increasing VIX provides, we're also going to be seeing an increase, and the pressure provided by the Fed, we're also going to be seeing an increase in the prices of treasuries, okay, which means that their actual relative value is going to go up more considerably. If we have a stagnant dollar, days where the dollar is stagnant and we don't see movement to the upside from the bond market, what it's going to tell us is that that's where we start to see an either improving condition for an increased valuation in equities, or if we see the opposite, if we see a stark increase in bond prices as the dollar flattens out, what we're going to see is further pressure to keep moving equities down. So that's what happened in the general market as it relates to bonds. Let's take a look at Tesla, TSLA, and the aftermath from Battery Day. So from Battery Day, we do have a decrease in 18%. That's incredible. That is incredible. Now, where do we go from here? Well, there's a couple places we can go. Let's go look at the 2-hour. That gives us some amount of time frame here. What we can do, we're basically at this level right here, which is already a point of resistance or point of support. If we break through this level, we're basically gonna be floating with visiting this level here, okay? We're going to be back down to the level of 42%. We're probably going to exceed that 42% level tomorrow, or maybe the next day, maybe Friday, but possibly tomorrow. We might see that, okay? Now, how what would be the next step after that? Because this is the point of control. There will more than likely be some sort of bounce, some sort of carry, like consolidation, possibly at this level right here. Okay, that's what we might see. The next level after that will more than likely be the next point of control, because Tesla does not know how to function like a normal stock. So what we might see is this point here, which is the lower bound of this area price distribution, which actually that is a good point right there. So we're going to look at this area here. This is going to probably be the next point, okay, where we see a major turnaround, and or here, okay, somewhere in this area we're probably going to start to see some sort of increase in volume buying up until this point here, where it's like if we break here, the next level is this next point of control, 196. Okay, from the top of 500, 196 is already past 50%. All right, this may come down to that 70% level. We don't exactly know, but we do know right now, looking at the 2 hour, is that we're heading into negative momentum territory. Okay, that's an exceptionally dangerous place to be, considering what we've seen before. We are in the oversold for the 2 hour. Okay, there's no guarantee that starting tomorrow morning we see a jump. Okay, there's no guarantee that tomorrow morning we see a jump. It may be possible, or that we run the entire day through into the oversold, because there's been plenty of times where we run entire days in the overbought. Okay, that is also something that can happen. All right, we can have entire days we were basically overbought the whole day through. Okay, and considering how much today we did see an increase in volume, if we go to the daily here and look at the volume on the day, we did see an increase in volume. We're still not below that 70% point where, you know, we can say, hey, you know what, this is the end of it, we're good here, like clear skies in front of us, like for the next couple months or something like that. Nope, not there yet, because the further out we go, the crazier this looks, and we still got to get to oversold, possibly, well, I guess we don't have to, at least 50%. We got to get to at least 50% on some of these timescales. Let's take a look here. Have we gone? We've never been oversold on the weekly. Okay, so that's important to know. Oh yeah, we have right here, that was a low. We got to oversold on a weekly. So what we may be looking for here is an oversold on the weekly to get the very bottom. Maybe there's no guarantee that we actually see a, when we start to get to about 50%, that could be a point where we maybe start to nibble, maybe grab a share, a tenth of a share, whatever it is that you feel comfortable in it being a very small portion of what you believe to be a full position. Okay, it does not mean your entire portfolio. Okay, it does not mean your entire portfolio. Okay, keep your stops well, if you're investing, that's different, right? Because you may decide to average in. If you're doing options, it's completely different. Watch your stops. If you're thinking of basically shorting this thing all the way down along the ride until it basically gets to oversold on the weekly, that's something you can do also. But keep your stops tight. Ride the waves when you can. Put off the brake, take your profit, reload, do it again. But do not take any of what I'm saying. This is just my opinion of what could be this is only an opinion of what could be a potential strategy. Please do your due diligence. Please have your stops. Please take care of yourself. Okay, now Let's go to the 5 minute here. Okay, or the 2 hour. Let's go to the 2 hour. Let's take a look at this right here. So right here up to this moment, okay, more or less, we have dropped 31%. Okay, that is a substantial amount. Okay, but the thing that tells me that we're probably not done here are the indices. Okay, so when we look at NQ here, okay, we are not oversold, not even on the 2 hour. Okay, when we go back to the monthly, we still got a lot to go in terms of the monthly. We still got a lot to go in terms of the weekly. Like, we've barely crossed over, and there's a lot of pain yet to go through. So because that's the case, we're probably going to be seeing still further downside from major names, including Tesla. It may be that we only get a little bit further down because we're oversold, and it's currently recovering from that oversold on the 5 minute, you know? It could be that we could hit oversold starting tomorrow morning and then just go the whole day into oversold and take the foot off of the gas until, you know, we're way beyond this level here, which is on the NQ tomorrow, which is 10.6. Okay, is a possibility. It's not something that has to happen. It's a possibility of what could happen tomorrow. What we can also see is right here, this being the point where, you know, the market just decides to turn around and we make a higher high, we make a higher low, and then, you know, it's just clear skies from here. All of these things can happen depending on what the market sees in terms of information, in terms of the economy. If we get a stimulus, if Pelosi, McConnell, and Trump all sign stimulus checks to everybody, you know, a lot of things can happen. Okay, nothing is impossible. Make sure you have your stops in place. And yeah, that's basically everything. So I hope that this was provided some sort of value for you guys. If it did, please go ahead and like and subscribe, or give me a like. Tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like. Was there some information that you would like to see next time? Comment in the video so that I can address these things in the next time. If you think my shirt is too red, if you think that you don't like to see a partially see-through Pikachu, that's a perfectly valid comment too. But I'm probably gonna keep wearing these types of shirts, so you know what? Out of luck there. Yeah, if you don't like the music, let me know. You know, like, all these things are cool. But yeah, I appreciate your time and that you guys have given to me and letting me share my opinion with you. Okay, I very much appreciate that. And yeah, this is the end of the video. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, take care. Bye.